Elasticity is an economic concept that measures how responsive consumers or producers are to changes in factors such as price, income, or the price of related goods. In simple terms, elasticity shows how much the quantity demanded or supplied changes when there is a change in another factor. It helps businesses and governments understand consumer behavior and market reaction. The most common type is price elasticity of demand, which measures how sensitive the demand for a product is when its price changes. For example, if the price of product increases and consumers buy much less of it, the product is considered elastic. On the other hand, if demand changes only slightly, the product is inelastic. Elasticity is important because it helps firms make pricing decisions, forecast sales, and maximize revenue. It also helps government decide tax policies and understand how market react to economic changes.
So for the first part, I will explain this first elasticity concept, which is price elasticity of demand, which is we using the Grab car as the chosen business for this presentation. So let us take a look at the definition of price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand is measure how quantity demanded changes when price changes. For the PED analysis, we focus on realistic road in Malacca, which is from Malacca Central to a Jonker Walk, where the travelling distance approximately 4 to 5 kilometers. So, for the fare data or the price used in this presentation, for the PED, for the price elasticity presentation, which is the data is based on the realistic market observation and the trend of Grab search pricing in Malaysia. So, according to the Grab pricing mechanism, fares increase during high demand situation such as peak hours, weekends, and heavy rain. Now, let us look at the table shown in the slide. During the off-peak hours, such as Wednesday at 11 a.m., the Grab car fare is around 7 ringgit. So during the peak hours, such as Friday at 5:30 p.m., the fare increased around from 9 ringgit to 60 ringgit. Meanwhile, during rainy weekends or busy nights, the fare may increase further around to 60 ringgit to 22 ringgit because of the surge pricing. Now, let us focus on the first graph on the left side. This graph represents elastic demand during normal situation. The original price is 9 ringgit with quantity demanded at 100 rides. When the price increased slightly from the 9 ringgit to 11 ringgit, which is around 22% increase in price, the quantity demanded decreased significantly from 100 rides to 80 rides. This shows that consumers are highly responsive to price changes. During normal situation, consumers have many substitute choices such as buses, walking, Maxim, Air Asia Ride, or carpooling service, such on. Therefore, the demand is considered elastic because the consumer can easily switch to other transportation option when Grab price is increased. Now, next, let us look at the second graph on the right side. This graph represents inelastic demand during peak hours, weekend or rainy weather. In this situation, the price increased significantly from 9 ringgit to 80 ringgit, which is 100% increase in price. However, the quantity demanded only decreased slightly from 100 rides to 19 rides. This means consumers are less responsive to price changes because the transportation become more necessary during the urgent situation. For example, consumers still need Grab services to go to work, attend classes, return home safely during heavy rain, or avoid a long waiting times for public transport. As shown in the PED calculation below, the graph, the elasticity value is 0.10, which is less than 1. Since price elasticity is less than 1, demand is considered inelastic. In conclusion, the demand for Grab car changes depending on the situation faced by consumers. During normal situations, demand is more elastic because consumers have many substitute choices. However, during a urgent situation such as peak hours and rainy weather, demand becomes inelastic because transportation becomes necessity.
Okay, next I would like to explain for the income of elasticity of demand. So the quantity they have two type. which is 4-seater and 6-seater for the Grab. And the income divided for two groups. For the first group is B40 and the second group is T20. As we know, B40 is lower income group and T20 is higher income group. Okay, next, based on my survey, income for the B40 group is around 4,800, and for the T20 group 5,200. Okay, next let's look like for the graph. For the B40 group, we can see the graph shift to the right and sloping upward. And for the T20 group, the graph shift to the right but a little bit upward. Okay, so what we're gonna see for the B40, they are just a large income. They are large increase in income lead to a large increase in quantity demanded. And for the T20 group, they are just a small increase in income lead to only a small increase in quantity demanded. Okay, next let's go for the calculation. The total for the quantity change in quantity is 0.5, and the total for the change in income 0.0833, and the final calculation for the income elasticity is 6.0. Okay, that's all from me.
So now I will explain the concept of cross elasticity of demand, or also known as XED, by using Grab rides and public transport, which are MRT and LRT fares as an example. Cross elasticity of demand measures how the demand for one product changes when the price of another related product changes. In this case, we are looking at how the demand for Grab ride changes when MRT or LRT fares increase or decrease. From the graph, we can see the relationship between the price of public transport or the vertical axis and the demand for Grab rides on the horizontal axis. At point A, the MRT or LRT fare is 3 ringgit and the number of Grab rides demand is 120,000 rides per day. Then, at point B, the MRT or LRT fare increases to 4 ringgit and the demand for Grab rides also increases to 150,000 rides per day. This means that when public transport becomes more expensive, more people choose Grab as an alternative transport service. Because of that, the demand for Grab rides rise. The graph is upward sloping, which shows a positive cross elasticity of demand. Positive XED happens when two goods are substitute goods. Substitute goods are products that can replace each other. For example, consumer may choose between taking the MRT or booking a Grab ride to reach the same destination. On the other hand, when MRT or LRT fares decrease, public transport becomes cheaper and more affordable. As a result, more consumers prefer using MRT or LRT instead of Grab. Therefore, the demand for Grab rides decrease. Based on the calculation shown in the graph, the XED value is positive, which further proves that Grab rides and public transport are substitute goods. In conclusion, this graph clearly shows that change in MRT or LRT fares directly affect the demand for Grab rides. When public transport prices increase, Grab demand increase, and when public transport prices decrease, Grab demand decrease. This demonstrates the concept of positive cross elasticity of demand between substitute goods.
price elasticity of supply measures how responsive quantity supply is to a change in price. In simple terms, it shows whether producer can quickly increase or decrease supply when prices change. This graph shows the relationship between price and quantity supply for Grab ride services. The y-axis represents price in ringgit measure, while x-axis represents quantity supplied, which refer to the number of ride or drivers available. The supply curve slope upward from left to right because when price increase, more drivers are willing to provide services. For example, when the price increases from 12 ringgit to 30 ringgit due to surge pricing, the quantity supply increases from 200 rides to 500 rides. This happens because more Grab drivers go online to earn higher income. Therefore, the supply is considered elastic. A real situation can be seen during peak hour or rainy days. Demand for rides increases, so Grab applies surge pricing. Higher prices encourage more drivers to go online, causing quantity supply to increase quickly. However, during late nights or bad weather, supply may become inelastic. Even if prices rise, there may not be enough drivers available, so quantity supply cannot increase much. Price elasticity of supply is important because it helps businesses like Grab understand how quickly they can respond to changes in demand and pricing.
For the last part of the slide of this presentation, that we will explain how a Grab applies elasticity concept in its real business practices. So for the first one, Grab uses pricing strategies such as surge pricing and dynamic pricing. During peak hours or rainy weather, Grab increases fare where the rider demand becomes higher than driver supply. So this allows that Grab to maximize revenue and manage high customer demand efficiently. So for the next one is Grab also applies promotional activities to attract more users. Like for example, a Grab car saver offers lower fares with a longer waiting time, which also provide discount vouchers and promo codes to attract price sensitive consumers and increase customer demand. And for the lastly is Grab makes supply decision by providing incentive and bonuses to drivers. During busy periods, higher incentive encourage more drivers to become active. This help Grab balance rider demand with driver availability and reduce waiting time for customer. So overall, these business practices show how Grab applies elasticity concept in real business situation.
Okay, for the last slide, I will explain overall for the data, which is summary. In conclusion, elasticity have explained how consumer and producer respond to change in price, income, and other economic factor. Through the example of group Grab service, this presentation show that demand and supply can change depending on situation such as peak hours, weather condition, income groups, and alternative transport price. Next, price elasticity of demand show that customers are more sensitive to price change during normal hours, but less sensitive during urgent situation. After that, income elasticity demonstrate that different income group, such as B40 and T20 user, have different responses towards Grab usage. Cross elasticity of demand explain the relationship between Grab and public transport, while price elasticity of supply show how driver respond to fare increase. Overall, understanding elasticity help business like Grab make better pricing, promotion, and supply decision to improve customer satisfaction and maximize revenue. Okay, thank you.